Hey, welcome to the American Hammers TV for Monday night. It's the roundup on Monday nights, but a little different show tonight. Due to my travel schedule, I'm on the road all this week, and next week is my 30th anniversary. So rather than having a live show tonight, I asked Nick, Brawley, Tony, and Jeremiah, to quickly record their responses to a series of questions I had. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put all those responses together in a single thing. You can listen to it, get your feedback to people. I'll post it at 9 o'clock tonight Eastern time, so you can watch live for the premiere and comment on it. If I'm able to, I'll try and watch the chat and comment back to you guys. Perhaps not as exciting as we've done in the past, but I'm still pretty excited to do it with you guys. So I should probably read you guys the questions. Oh. Hello, phone. Let's wake up. Let's see. Nope, wrong count. Too many Twitter accounts. Here we go. There were 10 questions, one of which I think is already out of place. Number 1, do you think we'll finish higher than last year? What position do you think you'll finish? Number 2, do you think we're finished signing players? We know today that it sounds like we've got a Portuguese fellow. I asked the guys, did they think that we would get Aaron Long from New York City? That turns out not very likely. I wanted to ask the guys, are they going to watch the Sky Bet Championship this year to see who's likely to come up and who will face in the EPL next year? I asked the boys, hey, everybody's picking LFC or Man City to win the league. I asked them, who do they see as the bottom 5? And when do they think the first club will be relegated? As we've talked about in the past, there's a lot of conversations about Mark Noble will start so many games this year. I want to ask, will Declan Rice captain the team this year? And if he does, how many times will he do it? We saw a change in Sanchez in the last few games. Now, I think we all recognize that he's perhaps not the greatest defender we could ever hope for. He's no Declan Rice. But my question to the guys was, has their attitude changed any? He certainly played somewhat better than he did in the past. Where does Sanchez fit in your vision of the position and depth chart at West Ham? 7th question. Reece Oxford, Marcus Brown, and Reece Burke have all left in the last 2 years. Which one do you regret losing the most? Then I asked them for 3 predictions. Prediction 1. How many clean sheets will West Ham get this year? A point of contention. We are a defensively weak club. We're going to score a lot of goals this year, so it's a question of can we score more goals than we allow in? Prediction on number 2. How many times this year will we see Fornals, Lanzini, Anderson, and Wilshere start as a group? That's a very powerful group of 4. So are we going to play a 4-1-4-1 with those guys? How does it all work? And finally, the last prediction question. Will West Ham finish ahead of Everton? And will West Ham finish ahead of Leicester? I'm expecting the boys to take about 5 minutes to answer these questions, so this isn't going to be the longest in the world, but I hope you enjoy it. I certainly enjoy doing the show. I look forward to see you guys in a couple of weeks doing another live show after the Brighton match, because hopefully by then, Nick, Jeremiah, and I have all kind of recovered from the weekend of being in Vegas. We're going to do a live bitch fest, I'm hoping, while we're there, and hopefully a quick roundtable of 3 or 4 guys, maybe get some of the UK folks in. So Dave Walker, Baz Cox, maybe even X. If you guys are interested, let us know. X, we have a Lucador mask for you so nobody will see you. And the little tight shorts. Lena says she likes those. In the meantime, I hope you enjoy this cast. Come on, your irons.
All right, so here we are going to answer some questions that Scott Davis sent us. Sorry, we don't have the fancy background or the West Ham stuff. It's a late one tonight, but anything for my boy Scott Davis and the American Hammers TV. This is Tony from American West Ham Podcast. I'm going to try to answer these to the best I can without giving away too much because we have a podcast coming out tomorrow, which will be on Tuesday. So the first question here. Do you think that we will finish higher than last year? What position do you think we will finish? I think we will finish higher than last year. Last year we finished 10th. Again, I don't want to give it away because Brawley's going to be cheating if he watches this video. But I will say that I think we finished between 6th and 9th. I can't give it away exactly, but that's what I'm going to start with. Second question. Do you think that we finished signing players? How do you feel about this and Aaron Long and New York Red Bulls? I'm disappointed that we're probably not signing Aaron Long from the New York Red Bulls. That's very disappointing to me because I thought it would be really exciting to have an American on here. I guess I saw on the internet that we might be signing some Portuguese young stud. So I guess if they went good with Diop and he was young and captain of Toulouse, maybe we'll get a good Portuguese center back. That could be exciting. Are you going to watch, number 3, are you going to watch any of the Sky Bet Championship at all this year to see who will make it up into the Premier League? Yes, I will. I will be watching a lot of the Sky Bet Championship. I absolutely love it. I love watching the Championship, League 1 and League 2. It's great with ESPN Plus if you got it. I think it's $5.29 a month after tax. I don't work for ESPN, so they're just getting some free stuff, free advert there. But yeah, I usually watch a lot of the championship. I just enjoy watching in general. I may not be focused on it, but I'll throw it on in the background. Next question, number 4. Everyone is picking LFC or Man City to win the league. Who do you see finishing in the bottom 5? When will the first? Who will be the first club relegated? Okay, so first thing I'm going to choose is Man City is my winner. I'm not scared to reveal that to Brawley because I think that's quite obvious. I do have Man City, Liverpool, Spurs as my top 3, as much as it makes me sick. First team to get relegated is going to be Sheffield or Norwich. I think those are the first 2 teams to be relegated, and I'm going to say March. I still think it's going to be close because I think the bottom 6-7 sides are going to struggle. Southampton down there struggled and they haven't really improved. Norwich and Sheffield I really don't think are that great. Villa invested a lot of money, but we saw what happened to Fulham. Brighton I don't really think is a strong side either. Newcastle's in disarray, spending a whole lot of money, and was it Mark Hughes? I think there's a whole bunch of teams down at the bottom that could be in trouble. There's a lot of talk. Number 5, there's a lot of talk that Mark Noble will start X amount of games this year. I will ask, will Declan Rice captain the team, and if so, how many times? Declan Rice will not captain any games this season. He won't. Sorry, folks. He's not going to captain. I hope he's the captain in the future. I love Declan Rice, and I hope he starts every game. But I do not see Declan Rice being the captain this season. I think they'll probably end up giving it to Fabianski there. Number 6, how has your attitude changed towards Sanchez in the last few games? My opinion has not changed. I think a lot of people are giving him crap. I think he's played horribly in the preseason. I don't mind him as squad depth. His wages are high, but at the same time, it's not my money. So I think a lot of people always complain about his wages, but like, well, what are you going to do? It's not your money. It's in the wage bill. We already cut so much. I think he's fine for depth. I don't really think he's as bad as everybody says, but I really don't think he's a player that I want starting or really even off the sub bench. Number 7, Reece Oxford. Sorry, Scott. Reece Oxford, Marcus Brown, and Reece Burke all have left in the last 2 years. Which one do you regret the most? Marcus Brown. I've said it on the last 2 episodes of American Hammers TV. I've said it on American West Ham podcast. Marcus Brown is a killer player. Played amazing in Oxford. Highly rated by a lot of people, by his coaches, by scouts. Maybe just not good enough for the Premier League. But out of those 3, I don't think any of them were really going to make it into the starting side. So Marcus Brown would be the one I wish we could keep. I wish he would get a shot. But at the same time, if you're not good enough, you're not good enough. Sorry, guys. That's just how it's going to be. I think Marcus Brown was probably the closest one. Reece Oxford had one good game, got a massive contract, and made his money off of that Arsenal game, putting Ozil in his pocket. That's about it. Prediction time, number 8. How many clean sheets will we finish with this year? None. No, it's going to be more than none. I suspect, let's see, I'll go with 5. I really see us getting countered fairly often. A good defense is a lot of offense, but, you're going to get hit on the counter. There's going to be goals where we say, Fabianski, nothing you could have done, pal. I feel like a lot of the goals this season, Fabianski has saved our bacon with some crazy saves, but then there's a lot of goals that he conceded, and I sat there like, yeah, nothing he was going to do about that. There's a lot of goals Adrian would let in the past seasons, Joe Hart, that were like, yo, what's your problem? You can't save anything. But Fabianski's goals that he allowed last season, I really didn't think were that big of a deal. Prediction time. Number 9. How many matches will Fornals, Lanzini, Anderson start as a group? Well, okay. Number 9, I hope that they... sorry again. Number 9, I hope that they start every single game that well. I really do. I mean, the way that they've played so far this preseason, I think the way Aller has started and his distribution, Lanzini's on fire, top form, scoring goals. He proved me wrong. I think I said in the last few shows as well that I was very nervous for Lanzini, and it was time to put up or shut up. That we were used to seeing him with Payet, and the way he played with Dimitri, that Dimi would pull players off of him and then would create a lot of space for Lanzini to work some magic. Lanzini struggled. He absolutely struggled being the sole provider. So with Fornals and Anderson, Yarmolenko back, Aller, I mean, Wilshire playing well in the deep midfield, Rice sitting all the way back. I'm loving what we're doing from midfield forward. Defense is a little concerning, but good defense is good offense. And number 10, will West Ham finish ahead of Everton? And will West Ham finish ahead of Leicester? Will West Ham finish above Everton? I don't like Everton. I like the American Toffee podcast guys, but I do not like Everton, and I will say that we finish above them. And I do think we finish above Leicester too. They got a big check from Man United this week, but I'm really not overly impressed with their side. I think they always had a solid side, and I think that they'll win a lot of games, but I still think we finish higher than both of those teams.
All right, hey, what is up, guys? Jeremiah from the Green Street Hammers. Scott, I appreciate you reaching out, getting us some questions that we can get back to you to get this posted up for American Hammers TV. Let's kick right into it. Number 1, I think we're going to finish higher than last season. A lot of us have talked the last couple weeks. I think we're going to finish 6th. I don't want to go any more ambitious than that. I think somebody from the top 6 is going to fall out, and I think that we're just going to edge just enough above those other teams to get in there. I think that we will finish in 6th place. No, I don't think we're done signing players. There's a lot of rumors out there of us looking at a Portuguese center back, or the Pellegrini wants to sign another center back, especially with the defensive woes that we've had. So I do think we're going to bring somebody else in. If it's going to be Aaron Long, I don't know. They got all the work permit issues and everything like that, but I do think he's a solid center back, and it would be really good to get another American back on West Ham, get him in the claret and blue, give another reason for Americans to start following West Ham. Number 3, I watched the Sky Bet Championship almost as much as I watch the Premier League. I'm excited to always just see kind of who's going to be going up, what kind of young stars are going. I love the relegation system, so I watch them all. I watch the whole tier of, from the Championship to League 1, League 2. This year I'm most excited just to kind of see how Slaven does, if Stoke's going to ever possibly come back up, or what's going to be going on with them. Seeing teams like Derby, seeing teams like Leeds, that were pretty close last year and what they did. So, I definitely watch it. Yeah, you're right. Everybody's picking Liverpool and Man City to go up. Probably going to happen. They're probably going to be the top 2 teams fighting it out just like they have been, which is crazy because City possibly winning 3 years in a row is nuts. The bottom 5, who's going to finish bottom 5, though? That's tough. I mean, obviously, I think that Norwich is going to be there somewhere in the mix. I think we're going to see, the likes of Newcastle. They're going to struggle. I think Newcastle's definitely going to struggle. You're going to see the likes of Brighton. I think their kind of run is up. Burnley might be down around that range, and I think that Bournemouth's run of staying up and looking good might be over as well. I'm not saying they're getting relegated, but I think that'll be the bottom 5, at least for now. I think that Villa might strive out of that. They've paid enough money, got enough players in there. You might see them fall into that too, but I think that Villa's going to at least push up for this season. Talking about the first official club to get relegated. Man, I think the first official club to get relegated, don't know who it's going to be yet, but when. I think it's going to be later than normal. I think we're going to look at like the last week in April time frame, which really only puts us like 2-3 weeks to the end of the season. So I think that it's going to go push on. Not that there's going to be competition through all levels of it, but I think at the bottom is going to be they're going to be beating each other up all season. So definitely excited to see what happens with that. Yeah, Mark Noble with the injury right now, small, seems to be small, but everyone else is playing around him, man, and it's a solid group around him. So it's going to be tough for the skipper to get back in there. Definitely think he's going to be the club captain still. There's going to be other people wearing the armband. But as far as that question goes, Declan Rice, I think he will captain this year. But I think we're going to see him mainly only captain probably when it comes down to the cup games. I don't think we're going to see him much in the Premier League. I think we'll see Cress if Cress is playing, maybe Balbuena. I think that Jack Wilshere might get the armband from time to time. And there might be a couple other guys that surprise us, and who knows what Pellegrini is really thinking. But yeah, I think that with Rice, we're only going to see it maybe during the cup games, whatever that looks like. My attitude hasn't changed much towards Sanchez. He has started playing better, which is exciting to see, and it's good to see. If he can play like that, then yeah. But there's always the possibility that he's not going to play like that. So I don't want to get too excited, but I'll tell you, the hair is sick. I can't pull that off up here. Even if I wanted to, I wouldn't be able to pull it off. So I do like that. I like the rows he's got going on, and I'm glad to see that he's kind of coming back. So I think my attitude's changed a little bit. I'm not slating him maybe as much, but take the good with the bad, and hopefully the bad stays away. As far as Oxford, Brown, and Burke leaving, I think I regret most probably letting Brown go. But I think Brown is a product of the midfield that we have right now. He's a product of that environment. It's such a solid midfield when you got Lanzini and Wilshere, Fornals, and you got Anderson and all those other guys in there. It's just tough. It's really, really tough for him to get in there. So I see why Pellegrini had to let him go. I see why he's been out on loan so many times. But man, he just looks good when he's out. So that is frustrating. But we'll see what's to come from that. Prediction time. Let's get into clean sheets. If preseason has anything to do with it, I'm going to say 0. But I think that we will have more than that. But I don't think it's going to be a little negative on me. I don't think that we're going to have more than maybe 5 or 6. I think with the attacking play that we have going on, it's going to be solid. And that's not putting the cup games into it. I think Premier League wide, I just think that 5 or 6 possibly. I think that defense will figure it out. But man, we're just putting so many people forward, and everything seems to be a more fast-paced offense right now on almost a lot of teams in the Premier League. So it's going to be a tough one. How many matches do I see for Knowles, Lanzini, Anderson, and Wilshere start as a group? I think it depends on injuries. We are West Ham. Hopefully none of them get hurt. Depends on Wilshere's fitness. Depends on Lanzini's fitness, which right now it looks great. If they all stay healthy, I think we see them as a group 30-plus times. Truly 30-plus times. Realistically, I'll put it in a realistic portion. I think those 4 that we see as a group about 20 times. I'm going to put them in there 20 times. I think injuries are going to happen. People are going to get hurt. But I do think and hope, I'm going to knock on some fake wood here, that we kind of break that methodical West Ham curse of injuries, especially to midfield players. And then your last question, dude, will we finish ahead of Everton? Yes. Will we finish ahead of Leicester? Yes. We're going to finish 6th, so that's going to put them right there below us. I think it's going to be tight, just like it was this year. If you go back and look at the table and how it ended up, but if you go back in key matchups, we must have had at least 4 or 5 times to go up into 7th place, to get to that 7th spot. And every time we failed. I think that this year, this team, this mentality, the heart that's around it, isn't going to fail. There's nothing here right now that's putting us down. There's nothing here that's going to be doing any of that. So I think that we're going to be able to push forward and just have a much, much more positive outlook on things and get and attack those chances when we have them. I'm going to scroll real quick, make sure I didn't miss any questions for you, brother. Doesn't look like it, man. Hey, once again, Scott, thanks for letting me on here. Thanks for giving me a shout out. Let me answer these questions for you. Hope all is well. And as always, come on, you Irons.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Nick Stampar here to answer these 10 questions about the upcoming Premier League season and how West Ham's going to fare in that season. So, question 1, do you think we'll finish higher than last year? What position do you think we'll finish in? I do think we're going to finish higher than last year. The team has played together a lot. Last year we were coming in with 9 new signings that clearly took some time to settle in. And I think that we've improved a lot since then. Our attack has improved, especially with the additions of Allaire and Fornals during this window. So I think that we look dangerous, and we were dangerously close last year to finishing higher than we did. The point totals in that part of the table were pretty tight. So I don't think it'd be difficult for us to finish higher. It is a little worrying that we've seen Wolves, Everton, and Leicester all strengthen their sides over the course of the summer, but I think we can pull out a higher place finish than we did last year. Second question, do you think we've finished signing players? How do you feel about us trying to bring in Aaron Long from NYC? So since these questions were written, I think more has come out about some Portuguese youngster at center back that we might be signing. So I do think we will get one more signing. If that's him, fine. Aaron Long, I think would have been cool. You know, he's an American, even though he plays for that junk club in New Jersey. I think it would have been great to get an American in the squad, add some depth at center back. But yeah, I do think we'll get one more signing, and hopefully that happens shortly. Hopefully it's more than one. I would love more than one, but I think one feels reasonable considering the budget restraints we've seen people talking about. Third question, are you going to watch the Sky Bet Championship at all this year to see who might make it up to an EPL next year? I usually keep track of other leagues. I like watching the championship. I think not really for who might get promoted. That's not really why I watch. I think the championship is actually a really competitive league. Obviously, with the chance of going up to the Premier League being on the line, I think that adds a level of competitiveness that you don't see in some other leagues. And there are a lot of good players in the championship. We've gotten some players. I know Antonio and Cresswell, to name two, that have come from championship clubs that are quality and have been quality for us. And I think that it's usually a fun league to watch. So yeah, I'll definitely be watching the championship on and off as I can. Number 4, everyone is picking Liverpool or Man City to win the league. Who do you see finishing in the bottom 5? When will the first club officially be relegated this year? I do think Man City is going to win the league again. I know that's boring, but it just seems sort of inevitable. Hopefully we still get a title race like we did last year, but I do think Man City's going to take it. Who do I think will be in the bottom 5? I think Palace are going to struggle. I think a couple of newly promoted clubs are going to struggle. I think I could see Sheffield struggling. I could see Brighton struggling. Obviously, even last year when they weren't doing too great, they still had a really impressive home form that allowed them to, not drop too low in the table. But I think I could see those 3 teams struggling just off the top of my head. There's a lot of talk about Mark Noble will start X number of games. Question being, will Declan Rice captain the team this year, and if so, how many times? I think Pellegrini has made it clear that Declan is not top of the list to get the armband after Mark Noble. I think that's fine. I do think maybe we see Declan get the armband once or twice this season. Couldn't be that many times. I think by next season, if we finish well this season and we've still got Declan on the books come the start of the 2020 season, I think Declan could be in for a pretty consistent captain's role. Number 6, has your attitude towards Sanchez changed in the last few matches? No, still kind of shit. Where does he fit into the depth chart? Hopefully he's healthy in the event that we need him to play. I think maybe some of the early cup matches he could go in, hopefully, assuming he's not going to blow it for us against a lower league team. Number 7, Reece Oxford, Marcus Brown, Reece Burke, all left in the last 2 years. Which do you regret us losing the most? I'm not sure that any of them struck me as, likely to be a world beater in a top league or at least not in the Premier League. I think of those 3, I'd probably take Reece Burke. I thought he was quality, even though he maybe had gotten older than you would want him to have gotten before breaking through. But I thought Reece Burke was quality, so I'll pick him out of those 3. Number 8, prediction time. How many clean sheets will we finish with this year? So last year, the most clean sheets in the league was 21. Second most was 20, and then third was down at 16. We had 7 clean sheets last year. I think we're going to hover around there. I'm going to be optimistic and say we get up to 9 clean sheets. And it does feel optimistic after watching our defense play in the preseason. Number 9, how many matches will Fornals, Lanzini, Anderson, and Wilshere start as a group this year? Obviously, Wilshere is kind of the linchpin in that discussion, whether he stays healthy. Assuming he does, I think I'm going to say around half the games, maybe just under half the games. I would say maybe like 17 games comes out to about 44%. So just being a little cautious there. Prediction time, will West Ham finish ahead of Everton? Will they finish ahead of Leicester? Fuck it, we're massive. Yeah, why not? Let's finish ahead of Everton. Let's finish ahead of Leicester. We could have and should have finished ahead of them last season. So hopefully we can make that happen this time around. And that's all the questions we got. So come on, you Irons.
Well, surprise, I'm back again. I just got a note from Brawley a minute ago. He's not going to be able to do it in time, so I'm going to pretend to be Brawley for a few minutes. I know I'm not from St. Louis, and I can't sing Gloria the way he does. But you know what? I sometimes get complaints, mentions, comments. Hey, you know what? I always ask somebody else questions, and I never answer the same question. So tonight, it's my turn to answer my own questions. So, first question. Do I think we'll finish higher than last year? Yes, I do. What position do I think we will finish? I think with the impact that we've seen to Manchester United, the issues that Chelsea is facing, and some of the issues that Arsenal is facing, is that a couple of those clubs are going to take a bit of a tumble this year. I believe that West Ham United will finish 6th this year. It's a little aggressive, I understand that, but I really think this could be a great year. Avoid injuries, execute, especially against the lower level clubs, and you can make a lot of points. So that would be awesome. Question number 2. Do you think we finished signing players? And do I think that we signed Aaron Long? Well, it turns out Aaron Long was never real. X covered that in his podcast. And some other folks have mentioned how it seems to be a lot of talk from his agent. So I understand that. I can't remember the name of the Portuguese fellow we brought in today. I think that there's room for one more acquisition this year. We'll get back to it when we cover central defensive midfield. I'm not comfortable with where we're at. And I think we're a little heavy on playing up front with creative midfielders. So I think we will see one more addition after this. Am I going to watch the Sky Bet Championship at all this year to see who might make up the EPL this year? Yes, I am. I'm trying to find what the right subscription is to watch more of it. I can watch a bit of it on BeIN. I have the rights to watch a bit of that. But I don't know what channel they're on consistently in the U.S. I might end up getting Fubo. Who knows? Everybody's picking Leicester, LFC, Liverpool Football Club, or Man City to win the league. Who do I see finishing the bottom 5? When will the first club officially be relegated this year? Now, first off, I still think that Man City wins the league this year. I think Liverpool hasn't improved enough, which is amazing to say for a club that won UEFA's Champions League last year. Who do I see finishing bottom 5? I'm pretty solid on Newcastle, Norwich, and Sheffield United going down. I think it's going to be a hard year for Southampton, and I think it's going to be a hard year for Villa, but I think those two clubs stay up. So my bottom 5. So 16th is Villa, 17th Southampton, 18th is Norwich, 19th is Newcastle, and 20th will be Sheffield United. Again, I really feel for the Newcastle United fans. They're some ways not that different than us. They've visions of past glory, lots of trouble, and we can't go into the whole ownership issue of Mike Ashley here tonight. But he's really done a lot to damage that club, and it's really hard on the fans, and I really feel for them. I certainly want us to beat them, but I don't enjoy watching that disaster go on. Number 6, if this goes back to my comment a minute ago, has my attitude towards Sanchez changed in any last few matches? Where does he fit in the depth chart for the club? My attitude towards Sanchez has not changed. I don't think he's good enough. I think that if we were to sign one more player somehow, it would be a CDM or some way to allow us to have one of the center backs play CDM. There was a conversation where somebody said, could we have Rice fall back and sign another central defensive midfielder, or put, Noble up with somebody? I don't know. There was also conversation about could Diop move up and play central defensive midfielder. I think right now, with how the pair of Pellegrini and Husillos are doing their signings, I trust them. If we gave them £5 to £8 million, that they would find somebody out there. I think Sanchez wasn't a panic buy, but more of a, I need something and I know him buy. And then we saw what happened. Number 1, he got injured right away last year. Number 2, he hasn't looked great to me in the preseason. I'm not confident about him. I could be wrong, and Pellegrini will let us know. If we see him show up more and more in more trusted situations, then yes, Pellegrini believed him. This is his last year, so I'm like, well, I was hoping we would sell him. We didn't, but I'm not sure if we would have gotten anything for him. We've seen with the Oxford transfer recently where effectively we got no money for it. It was more getting him off our books. Transfers are not as cut and dried as I'd like them to be, where if we, sell somebody for £20 million, we get £20 million. A discussion for another day. I think if you get a chance to watch, to follow The Price of Football, and I'm sorry, I'm forgetting the gentleman's name on Twitter, he has some excellent insights on how all of this ends up working out. Hammer's Chat had the gentleman on their 24-hour marathon earlier this year. All right, question number 5, because I missed this earlier. There's a lot of talk about Mark Noble will start X Games this year. I wanted to ask, will Declan Rice captain the team this year, and if so, how many games? I don't see a lot of people putting Mark Noble in the starting 11. That's not to say he's not on the club and he's not on the bench and he doesn't play an important role. Mark has been the unifying force in our central midfield for several years now, and I don't think that really changes this year, even though he won't be on the pitch as much. I see him more in a leadership role from the bench and on the training ground. I see him starting 12 games this year in the right situations, giving somebody else a break, the Christmas break. Various times a year where we have a bunch of matches at one time, especially since I think this year we're really set up to do a cup run in both the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup. I think we're going to need his expertise and his strength in the midfield through more matches than we were originally thinking, and I think we'll see him play a lot. Do I think Declan Rice will captain the club this year? I think he will. I think it will be in in cup matches to begin with, and then as the season goes on, if he plays well and he manages himself well and contributes well, I think he'll get a chance to do that. I've really liked what I've seen from Declan Rice on the pitch when he's turned and said something quite bluntly to an older player, which is kind of uncommon in our league. Like sometimes they'll give each other grief, but he's giving more of a grief of hey, you know what, you should have done this. We need you to do this. We need you to do this, rather than flapping his arms in the air like a certain Austrian did last year whenever the ball wasn't delivered correctly. So Declan Rice, I think, captains 6 games this year in all competitions. I'm okay if I'm wrong, but I really see it happening. It's the start of him taking that role on as a captain. And I believe, whereas a lot of people think that we have to get into European football to keep Declan around, there's some truth to that. I think we need to get into Europe the next 2 years, but I think also providing him the captaincy is another huge part of keeping him around. Question number 7. We have sold Reece Oxford, Marcus Brown, and Reece Burke in the last few years. Who do I regret the most losing? This is a really hard answer. I hate having lost Reece Oxford because of what I saw from potential. I hated losing Marcus Brown because I really feel he could have been a role player. Ultimately, the person I miss the most is Reece Burke. I think we could have used Reece as one of our center backs going forward. I think he got sold too quick. I understand that we can't have 1,000 players on the bench. We don't have the money for it, nor do all the players want to sit on the bench all the time. And I believe part of Reece's move was that he wanted more playing time. I would have loved to have kept him. I think he would have been a great player. He could have played that central defensive midfielder or center back where we needed him on occasion. I think he really has those skills and those abilities. And I liked his toughness. His mental toughness seemed to be there. So for me, I miss Reece Burke most of those 3 players. 3 predictions. How many clean sheets will we finish with this year? I look at our defense and I see how we're set up. We are going to win a lot of matches this year. I believe this is a great year for West Ham. I think we're going to score an awful lot of goals. I think we're going to let a lot of goals in. Unless we see Balbuena and Diop get back to a really harmonious working relationship, and Fredericks and whoever's playing on the left side, whether that's Creswell or Masuaku, really contribute better defensively, I see us not having a lot of clean sheets, irrespective of it being Fabianski in goal or one of the other 2 gentlemen. I'm going to say we're going to end up with 8 clean sheets in the EPL this year. That's 8 out of 38. That's not great. That's just over 20%. That is not the kind of defense that I believe will be required to win the league, but I don't think we're going to win the league. I think we're going to play well. I think we will place much higher, but I think this year has been about offense, and if you take a look at what we brought in last year with Anderson and Diop and Balbuena, there was a bit of a mix. I believe that if Manuel Pellegrini gets another good season under his belt and things go well, he's going to be able to have the money to then go improve the defense next year. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Ben Johnson play a lot. And if he plays a lot, then that saves some money for us. And I know Jeremiah and I disagree on this, and that's okay. I really think that we need somebody on the left side. And I'm not happy with what we got right now, but again, we'll see what happens. Prediction sign. How many matches will Fornells, Lanzini, Anderson, and Wilshire start as a group this year? When I see that, I really see that as a flat back four, Declan Rice, 4 people in the middle, and Aller playing up top. I think, based on how Pellegrini is setting things up, that any time that we play somebody that we would consider bottom quarter, like positions 16 through 20, we're going to see those 4 guys out there. Pellegrini is going to want to rush these guys, keep the ball, push it in. So I would say that 8 or 9 times this year, those 4 start. Will there be situations where we see all 4 on the pitch for the whole match? Probably not. Or if we need a goal and it's the right time, I could see lots of that. But starting this year, I see 8 times where those 4 guys are all starting. The final question I have, and my phone has shut on me, so give me a second, please. Prediction time. Will West Ham finish ahead of Everton this year? I think we will. I think Everton will do quite well this year. I like their squad. I don't think they've done anything really stupid this summer. I think that they could be a challenge, and I think, like I'll talk about in Leicester here, that is our level. Those are the people that we're competing with for that spot in Europe. Additionally, will we finish ahead of Leicester? I think we will. I have enormous respect for Brendan Rodgers as a manager. I think he brings out a lot from that club that we haven't seen before. So I'm quite excited to see what he can do. But I still think that we have more weapons, and ultimately that's going to come down to Jamie Vardy, fabulous striker. I think he's got a lot of goals left on his feet, but I think that what's around him isn't good enough. I think that there's some age in their backfield, so I think that we could finish ahead of them. So, like I say, I think West Ham finishes 6th. I think that whichever club of Chelsea, Arsenal, or Man U in their turmoil really falls the furthest will end up in 7th. And then you'll probably see Everton and Leicester fighting for 8th. And then I think Wolves and Watford 9th, 10th. And then the rest of them. Anyways, I've enjoyed this. Again, apologies that we're not doing this live. Sometimes that doesn't work out. I hope you have a great week. And, if you're going to be in Vegas, we'll see you in Vegas. If not, I'll be tweeting a lot. Nick and I should be doing a Bitch Fest in the next couple of days, getting that published for Wednesday night, and the live Bitch Fest at the West Ham event. So, hey, in the meantime, come on, you Irons.